everyone, and welcome to our monthly Lymphedema Patient Roundtable. It is a special time every month where we all get together and we share real life stories and inspiration, offer some advice, not medical advice, but we want you to know you're not alone in your lymphedema journey. And it's so lovely to share this platform with some of the most inspiring and strong and amazing people I've ever met. And I hope that you will log on and ask your questions, put your questions in the chat or in the Q&A. We'd love to answer them, but I want to give everybody a proper introduction tonight. And I've realized the last 2 months, I have failed to properly introduce one of my most favorite people, Mary Casselberg. How is it that my brain just froze? And I realized the last 2 months I didn't introduce you. So you're first tonight. Mary Casselberg is a primary lymphedema patient. She's also a Lympha Press compression therapy consultant. She volunteers at Camp Watch Me, and she has great advice and insight. And we just always love having you on the panel, Mary. Thank you tonight.
Thank
you. We also have Betty Westbrook. Well, we always feel like we've got a star in our midst when she can join us. She is a very busy mom and a certified lymphedema therapist who can answer your questions if they're medical in nature. And she also has a huge heart for the lymphedema community and one of the founders of Camp Watch Me, which focuses on pediatric lymphedema. And so we're always honored to have you with us, Betty. And then Alexa Ercolano. She is my right arm. Maybe she's my left and my right arm lately. Alexa Ercolano has a really fascinating blog called The Lymphy Life. And she is also a member of the Lympha Press team, has lymphedema, and always brings great insights to the table. So hello, my Alexa.
Thank you, my Brenda.
I have Leslyn Keith here. Oh, she just made a little note to Kelly that we've got different dates. Well, this is a great opportunity for me to introduce Kelly Bell, veteran fighting lymphedema. Yeah, we got to do it. You know, one of these days I need you all to do the fighting thing with me. You know, yeah. Can we just, okay. So he's promoting the ketogenic solutions for lipedema and lymphedema, but we just want to note that those actual dates are 22nd to 24th. So there's extra time in there, and Kelly will tell us a little bit more about that so we can help to promote that wonderful event. Kelly, we're so glad you're here with us. Amanda Sobey is an inspirational speaker, a motivational coach, health and fitness coach. She's got a huge following. Wait, your new handle again is?
Limpy Queen, but am.sobey is coming back very, very soon. So we'll have both. So I can be found everywhere, I guess.
Well, that's important. The more you can find her, the better for you, because she always brings great information to the table. You don't have your normal backdrop, which is usually weights and...
I'm having internet issues today, so we are in the comfort of my kitchen.
Well, we're glad to have you in the kitchen. Speaking of kitchen, this is like a beautiful segue to my friend Angela Jones, who is a lipolymphedema patient. She is also a health and nutrition coach, and she cooks the best food, posted on her social pages. And I just want to come over for dinner. Can I please come over one night, Angela?
Yes, you can.
Okay, good. I would love that. People are continuing to log on, and we are so excited and thrilled that you decide to join us this evening. Catherine Rosenberg is a lymphedema patient cancer survivor, and really you should have doctor in front of your name. You bring so much information to the table. We're so glad you're here with us, Catherine. And I'm going to try not to burn my hair, the house, or anything else, but it is Cam Ayala's birthday tomorrow. And so I want to offer this little cupcake of cheer to you, Cam. Cam is one of the most inspirational dudes in lymphedema. He was on The Bachelorette. He was in Bachelor in Paradise, but we're even more proud that he's on the Lympha Press family as a compression therapy consultant. He's a national advocate for the lymphedema community. Now, Cam, you have to make a wish. Okay, done.
Thank you.
Oh, there's somebody playing Happy Birthday in the background. I like it. I hear the Stevie Wonder. Probably the FCC would get mad at us for playing music that's not copyrighted, but
We don't own the rights to this music. Don't shut us down.
yeah. And it's Cam's birthday, so a little bit of something is appropriate. Although we just lost your face, Cam. Come back. We want you to put in chat what you think Cam's wish was. That should be interesting, right? So let us know in chat. You, Betty, I say you go first.
Oh, I don't want to say it out loud.
You don't? Well,
He probably just wants front row tickets to a concert. That's what Cam wants.
front row tickets to a concert. Cam has helped me with. Leslyn Keith suggests something a little bit more noble, a cure for lymphedema.
Yes.
So all right. Now, Leslyn, where do we go from there? Like, nothing any of us could say. Like, I would say the woman of his dreams. That would be my wish for Cam. Let's all give Cam a wish from the lymphedema patient roundtable tonight. Let's get into some topics, though, of pertinence to the lymphedema community. And again, if you have questions, please feel free to ask them in the Q&A. Weather really affects lymphedema. We talked about the heat in the summer. Now we are heading into fall. And I'm wondering, among the table here, do you experience a change with the seasons changing? And how does it affect your lymphedema? Who wants to start?
I'll just start real quick. So I think a reason a lot of patients who live in hotter climates, like Texas, where I live, they kind of use the heat as an excuse to not wear their compression garments because it's so hot, right? So now transitioning into a little bit of a cooler time of year, they, have an opportunity to be more compliant, because especially patients who don't maybe necessarily like the color of their garment or how it goes with their outfits, or they're a little bit more kind of shy of being open and expressive with their compression modality. So use this as an opportunity to kind of make up for that lost time if you weren't, super consistent, in the hotter months out of the year. That's what I would suggest.
I love that you mentioned not wanting to wear your compression in the hot months, because Pale Ginger Pear, who is on our lipedema patient roundtable, did this whole post this last month about how her AC went out. And she said, I still wore the compression because I know how important it is. Alexa, this was a topic that you had actually suggested to talk about tonight. What are you experiencing with the seasons changing?
Well, my leg is a lot happier in the cooler months. I live in the mid-Atlantic in Baltimore, so it's very humid in the summer, very nice and cool and crisp when it gets in the fall. So I'm happy mentally, like Cam mentioned, with the clothing, that plays a big part. So I'm happy now that I can wear pants comfortably and lots of layers. I'm definitely a fall winter kind of gal. So this is like my seasonal change, and my leg is just as happy as I am. So, and wearing the compression too, it's a lot more comfortable without the sticky heat. It's miserable in the summer. So
I know, so
Wonderful.
happy. It's great to have the seasons change. I want to mention a few people that have logged on tonight that are just terrific. You have often been at our roundtables, and we really appreciate you. Anita Kuhn is out there, Camille Rubino. We have some members of the Lympha Press team, Ed Davis, Trevor Hem, Ken Wormack. If I didn't mention you, please don't be offended, but we've got a lot of really engaged people out there supporting what we're doing here. And we're just so proud to offer this to you. This is your chance to let you know that you're not alone. Lympha Press will walk with you on your lymphedema journey long after you get your compression pump from us, because it is a condition that needs to be managed until we have that cure, like Leslyn Keith said. So we'll manage it together, managing not just the physical, but also our emotions, and getting great advice and tips. Also, I love, Mary, that you often talk about how you went through a phase where it's like, I don't want to wear my compression because I'm embarrassed. But you are so not that woman anymore, are you?
Yeah, I actually, I now view it as lucky that my leg gets very painful without compression because it's kept me compliant even when I didn't necessarily want to be. But I think it's important to note that it's not linear. There are so many waves of, okay, I got this handled, and okay, I'm done. And then you wake up the next day and you're like, I'm not done. I have to pull on my stocking. So, it's definitely not, I don't know if there's necessarily a destination on our journey, but you can enjoy the different places you go. I think that's kind of important. It's, while it might always not be easy, I actually had a night this past week where I was super upset about my lymphedema. And it doesn't, sorry, I have two dogs who are barking.
Your dog was upset too. But I love that you were candid about that. I mean, look, we are all human beings here. It's not like we wake up in the morning and it's like, yippee. Lymphedema is challenging to deal with. You can do it successfully, but I'm so glad when you are honest like that and vulnerable enough to say, I was not having a good week about it. Obviously, you got to the other side though, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one of my favorite things to do when I am feeling down on myself is I look at Instagram and I follow a ton of fellow lymphedema patients and lipedema patients. And it really makes you realize that you have such a supportive family with lymphedema, and you can go and look at someone who's doing yoga. Or I was actually just telling a therapist I was meeting with today that I will never forget seeing Amanda for the first time and being like, she's so muscular, I can work out.
That's awesome.
So it can give you a lot of encouragement, just seeing that you're not alone, because unfortunately all of us aren't lucky enough to be neighbors with another lymphy.
So true. Love it. Amanda, you're in Canada. So does the weather affect you?
I am just like Alexa. I love and favor the fall winter weather. My leg loves it, but I want to get back to what Mary said. And then if you don't mind, I'll play in both
go for it.
sandboxes. I think we all hear this from over and over again. Our community really exists internationally. I never really met somebody super close to home. And if I did, it was very far and few between, or it would have been like recognizing a woman that has an arm sleeve in the grocery line or whatever. But I found that with the internet and social media, even though that we're super far away, now we are all like lymphedema buddies just through the power of this cloud that we kind of live in. And it's opened up my eyes to a new life. So thanks for everybody else, because I totally follow with you all and get inspiration from you. And I think it's just great that we can be open and honest and candid as well. But yeah, going back to the weather, hot weather is hot. It's uncomfortable. Cool weather is awesome for me. We have the coldest weather in all of the world, I believe. We still hold like the #1 ranked coldest place on Earth. And I think we're colder than Mars. So we have some extreme temperatures here, but
Wow.
Extreme is a bit too extreme, but I do prefer the cold, just not like super, super, super cold, because then you just don't leave the house.
Right, of course. So Betty, in your professional opinion, what do you have to say about this weather thing? Should everybody just be, so we should have a lymphedema celebration that the weather's turning cooler?
Absolutely. Well, it's fall in most places. Amanda did mention, internationally in some other countries right now, it's not exactly fall anymore, but yeah, I've seen it in clinics where patients are a lot more compliant with their regimen in the fall, because it's easier to kind of like pile on those layers and hide the garment if you're not confident and comfortable in it. And two, it's also just easy to just be like, all right, whatever, I'll wear it. It's another layer, and it's more comfortable and it's warming even maybe. But I think maybe we talked about this in the summer, going back to why you get that onset. I mean, of course it's hot, but your body is trying to cool itself off by increased circulation, and your natural increased circulation causes increased lymphatic production. And so while you might take that summer off and think, I'm just going to slip back into that garment when it's cooler weather, my garment's probably not going to fit you because you've had some rebound swelling if you've been slipping a little bit. And then you kind of get to the point where you're like, wow, I didn't really notice over the summer, but I've got this problem area that maybe has popped up. And then in the fall, I actually used to see a pretty high increase in my caseload of patients wanting to come in and get like back on track a little bit, because their benefits for their insurance would run out or restart in January. And they're like, well, I have a couple more months to get this down. Can we, get this under control real quick? Mm-hmm. So while it's comfortable to slack off in the summer, you really pay for it whenever it comes to the fall, when you do try to jump back into those garments, especially if it's custom compression. It's probably not going to fit anymore.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a great point. I think probably my favorite ever question just came in from one of our visitors tonight. Constance Kahari Webster says, I couldn't have scripted this any better. I want to know who wants to answer this first. What is Lympha Press supposed to do? Great question. We love educating people about what Lympha Press can do. First of all, Cam, I'm going to make you go first. Except you're muted.
Okay.
I'm not.
Am I good?
You're great.
Okay, sorry, just transitioned from an iPad to an iPhone. Okay, so I will tell you exactly what a Lympha Press does, and one kind of segue from the past topic. So one thing that is pretty common, as Betty and Amanda and Mary and everyone is contested to, is that our bodies are going to change with the different seasons, right? So typically we're a little bit more swollen in the summer and in the hotter months, and then for some patients, we, reduce a little bit in the wintertime. But that's one thing that's really beneficial, and I feel unique attribute of Lympha Press's garments is when you change in circumference, right? Maybe your arm tends to go down in the wintertime. With the way that all of the Lympha Press garments are made for upper extremity and lower extremity is that it's inflate to fit. So that means the garment is going to adjust while your body adjusts, right? The size that I'm now, I'm not going to be the same size 3 or 4 months from now, right? But I'm going to still get that same consistent pressure because that's how the Lympha Press garments work for upper and lower extremity. But to step back to answer your question, Lympha Press essentially is a pneumatic compression device. That's just the fancy word for compression pump that will ultimately help activate your lymphatic system and your venous system, and to help move that fluid that's going downstream that needs to go upstream. So it also helps with wound healing if you have chronic wounds that keep reoccurring, and it really just makes you feel better physically and emotionally. That's it.
I love that explanation, and I'm sure that there are a few other people that want to weigh in and add to it. Catherine, where are you? Catherine jumped off for a minute, but she's going to come back. She is a huge advocate. The whole thing is, not all compression therapy is created equal. Just because it's a pump doesn't mean it's a Lympha Press. So I think it's really important to make that distinction. One of the distinguishing features is exactly what Cam said. The other thing is it's got to be easy to use for it to work. And compliance is really huge. It's an important situation to have a device and be able to have it easy to use. You just zip up the garments. They have overlapping chambers, so there's no gaps. It looks like ski boots if you get the leg sleeves. And then we also have garments for any size patient too. And basically it's moving that lymph. You usually find that you have to go to the bathroom afterwards because you are eliminating fluid. Anybody else want to jump in? What's a Lympha Press supposed? I like the way she said it. What's a Lympha Press supposed to do? Go ahead, Mary.
I use it.
I'm sorry, Kelly, you first.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I use it. I actually went seeking it just because I felt it was a better pump than the previous pump I had. And for me, it's really good, really fantastic on my truncal organ lymphedema stuff, because I have to push stuff way up, and it works fantastic. It's worked. The other one didn't even do that. So this one is great.
That's awesome. And go ahead, Mary.
Another thing that I love about Lympha Press specifically is our pressures are numerical, meaning it's not just like a low, medium, and high setting. So I use that with, obviously advice from therapists and doctors if I feel like I'm reaching a peak or a plateau of swelling. So sometimes as we're talking about the summer, if it's really humid, I'll be more swollen. And because I can see exactly what pressure I'm using, I feel comfortable upping it a little bit to kind of handle swelling, where then I can back down once it's, once that flare up is down. Also a note on summer, your body does get used to wearing a stocking. I remember at first when I was wearing my flat knit, it was so hot, and now it doesn't bother me at all. So stick through it a little bit and it will definitely get better. It's not worth not wearing it, trust me.
Yeah, very good. Excellent. Catherine, I've been waiting. Are you having technical issues tonight? Because you went away and then you came back. You put your whole self in, you put your whole self out. What?
I switched computers.
What? Everybody's going a little crazy tonight, changing iPads to phones. What? Stop messing with me, everybody.
Sorry.
Catherine.
Yes.
Did you want to add to what the Lympha Press is supposed to do and what's unique about it? Okay.
So in terms of, I have the Optimal Plus, like I think most people on this panel do. And one of my favorite features is the fact that you can turn off particular chambers if needed. So hypothetically, say you have an abdominal procedure and you can't have the compression on and you have the pantsuit, you can turn off that abdominal piece. Or if you have like a hip procedure or a knee procedure, you can turn off the ability to have just that particular region turned off. And that is super helpful, especially for people, who really still need to use that Lymphopress, but at the same time, it could be painful on a particular area because they just had a procedure done.
I know that there are several people that have isolated or deactivated certain chambers just to protect certain parts of their body. Barbara Smalden asks, is there a right or a wrong way to use the Lymphopress? And one of the things I would say is definitely do what your doctor told you to do. For one, follow your doctor's instructions. But Betty, can I lean on you for an answer for that one?
Yeah. So in the clinic, I would always recommend to patients, one of the wrong ways to use your pump is if you are pumping through a visible infection. If you have a cellulitis infection on that affected limb or really anywhere in your body, you don't want to increase circulation to rapidly spread that infection and get it into your bloodstream much quicker than it would have been. So if you have an active infection, you don't want to do it. You also really don't want to do it over jewelry. So if you wear an ankle bracelet or you have a watch or a ring on or whatever, I always make sure my patients take off their jewelry, including necklaces. If we're doing the upper with the chest panel, we'll take off all of their jewelry. Anything that's like pants that have buttons, I usually have them get into something soft and comfortable, seamless if they can, or like loose cotton. Because seams in your like denim jeans will make a really big indentation, or if you're wearing like jogger pants with a cuff on the bottom, that will make a cuff, because everywhere you have the compression of your sleeve, it's going to, like, if it's thicker material in one area and thinner in another, it's going to make that different pattern in your leg. And then there's medical conditions. If you have congestive heart failure, you really want to make sure you're talking with your doctor. Renal insufficiencies or renal disease, you really want to make sure that's covered as well. And there's some other things like angiosarcoma and other infections that you might want to be cleared by your doctor first before getting into a pump. Too high is not really safe. You don't want to get in there and crank it up as high as it'll go, thinking more is better, because that's not always the case. So there are definitely some wrong ways to use your pump. I was really fortunate today. I actually interviewed Eric Ansar, the president of Lympha Press, for an upcoming podcast episode, and we talked about this a little bit. But a lot of the answers to, is there a wrong way to use it? Lymphopress has the best customer service of any pump company that I've worked with. And the rep who comes out and helps to set you up is going to walk you through that. And then they'll still be in touch with you afterwards. You can contact them if you have a question. So if you are ever in doubt, just reach out to the person who set you up with your pump, because Lymphopress, once they drop off the pump and they help get it in your house, they're not done with you, which is something that I love as a therapist. Yes. So while there are some wrong things you could do with your pump, Lymphopress is always there to kind of guide you through that if you have any questions.
I just got all the warm and fuzzies. That was so well said, clinically spot on, but also it speaks to what my heart is all about, which is this community. And I want to read what Louise Parsons just said in chat. This is my first Lymphopress webinar. All right, so everybody, we need to give Louise Parsons lots of love. We are so glad that you are with us. And she says she loves the Lymphopress. It has restored her legs to their original skinny size. She uses it once a day for an hour and finds it so relaxing that she falls asleep. In my opinion, it's far more effective than compression hose and infinitely more comfortable. It has definitely changed my life. Louise Parsons, you just made our night. And I want to know if I can use that quote to help teach other people about Lymphopress. So let me know in chat if we can use that. I want to go to you, Catherine, because you had a really great idea for conversation. And it was about the effect of returning back to in-person working and how it can affect our successful lymphedema routines. Do you want to expand on that a little bit, Catherine? And I see Amanda nodding her head too, so you might have something to say about that.
So I know I'm up in New Jersey, and a lot of places are now requiring those people who were remotely working due to COVID to return back to their office buildings or in-person jobs by, I believe it's November 1st or something of that. So, and I actually returned back to my teaching position in person about a week and a half ago. And one thing I didn't consider was the fact that I haven't stood on my leg for 7 hours straight in 18 months.
Wow.
So I initially started with the compression I was normally using over the summer, which is just a regular class 3 flat knit garment, which is custom made to my leg. But I had forgotten that when I was standing on my leg for 7 hours a day, would actually layer two compression garments because I needed more pressure. And that's per my doctor. And I had totally forgot about that. So unfortunately, my leg swelled very much so to the point where I wound up using my Lymphopress 3 times in a day. And I don't normally use it 3 times a day, but I had to adjust to what I was doing to manage my lymphedema because of my forgetfulness, as I'll call it, of what I was like 18 months ago when we were actually pre-COVID. And super, super important to really try to think about those things if you are one of those people who is going to be going back into what I'll call the in-person workplace and not. So it's not like I could just say, hey, let me put my foot up on a chair, on a stool underneath my desk, because it's not there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of frowned upon for a math teacher to be sitting at their desk. So, it was one of those things that I didn't think, I should have thought more about it, but I didn't realize how much of a drastic change I was gonna have.
Yeah. I'm so glad you raised that, because what you went through is great to educate everybody else. And I saw you nodding a lot, Amanda. Is there something you wanted to say about maybe how we can plan and prepare? There are people in my life who have had some physical challenges, and you sort of have to map out what you're going to do before you get there. The shortest number of steps, get the hotel room that is not all the way down the hall. Pre-planning is so important, but this one sort of blindsided you, Catherine. What would you say about that, Amanda?
So if you have been following me or not, I have been a full-time single parent for 16 years. And when you're a full-time parent, you get really good at understanding what tasks to do in that day and what tasks to put aside until you can kind of get to them. And Brenda, you kind of did the spoiler alert. Preparation is your key to success. And I think every Lymphy here who is thriving, we all have our daily list of things to do. And I guess the game that I play in my world is how many things can I prepare successfully to make my life easier? For example, when I get up out of bed, first thing is to make my bed, but then the second thing is to roll up my bandages so that I can have them ready when I need to flop exhaustedly into bed when I come home at night. You're always trying to set up little systems in your world to make it easier for you. And in that moment, it sure does feel like it's a lot of work. But once you kind of get your list of things that you need to do, you know, clean garments, rolled up bandages, good food, compliance, and all fitness, of course. Once you have all these things kind of laid out, your job is to fit it in. And there's no really secret sauce other than preparation is your key to success.
Yeah. Yeah. Mary, excellent. Thank you so much, Amanda. Mary.
A lot of times as a compression consultant for Lympha Press, I hear people say that they don't have a lot of time. And like Amanda was saying, life gets really busy. So one thing that I do to kind of combat, if I know that I have a long day of driving, I'll actually set my alarm an hour early and get in the pump, fall right back asleep. 1 hour is done. That's one pro with Lympha Press is it feels really good and it's a quiet machine. And that way, you know, you're starting the day off strong and can kind of go from there. So there are ways to make lymphedema work in your routine. It's just takes some creativity and some adapting.
And you can take it with you, right? Angela and Kelly and Alexa, you recently did a photo shoot. In the coming months, you're going to start to see some new photos. We felt really strongly that having people that really have the condition and putting them in our photos for our marketing materials would be more authentic. So some of the stars of the Lymphedema Roundtable, like Angela and Kelly and Alexa, and of course, Cam has starred in our stuff before, and I have got some photos of Mary in my back pocket too. So how was it traveling, Angela, with your Optimal Plus?
It was very easy to do, especially since I had struggled a couple of months before with bringing it from Arizona to North Carolina, trying to figure out how to safely get it here. And so I ended up checking it in. I didn't even try to carry it as a carry-on. I just bundled it up in several layers of bubble wrap. And I checked it in and it did fine. And it was very easy to use. It's always easy to use, whether on the road or, you know, if you're where you live, it's just an easy piece of equipment to use.
Yeah. You know, Alexa, you shipped down a foam, what do you call that?
It's a Lounge Doctor leg rest. It's like this really great foam wedge pillow. I have a review on my blog from a couple years ago if anyone's interested, but it's really helpful for elevating.
That was not easy to pack, so you had to ship it down in advance, but your Optimal Plus,
super easy to pack.
Yeah, right.
You can look on our TikTok or Instagram to see a video of how I packed mine.
That's right. It's a great point to note that, yes, we are in the Cool Kids Club now. We are on TikTok thanks to Alexa Ercolano. Yes.
Yeah.
Betty, what did you want to say about travel?
Well, so to Alexa's point about, I think she said, called it the Lounge Doctor. We've used wedges before and I haven't tried one. I've not yet seen it in person. But in one of our like catalogs that we get periodically, there was an inflatable one. So it's, you know, you could just deflate it. And then if you have a pump or something you could take with you, you could air it up. Maybe that would get the job done too. It won't be nice and foamy, but still it might work.
That's cool. All right. Now we have a few more questions that have come in. I'm going to stay with you for a little bit, Betty. Julia Barefoot, which we love Julia because we love her name, Julia Barefoot. It's awesome. We love that you keep coming to our roundtables. And she's having surgery near her wrist to remove a squamous cell on her arm. First of all, we send good thoughts toward you and a successful surgery. She wants to know if she should not use her Lymphopress until the wound is healed. She'll probably know more following the surgery. The cell is rather large and she has had numerous ones removed on a lymphedema arm previously, but it wasn't as large as this one. Any thoughts on that? We don't want to give actual medical advice and we advise you to talk to your own doctor, but when there is a wound, should the Lymphopress be used?
So in some cases, I would say yes. In this instance, I would say follow your doctor's advice. They may not fully understand sometimes like what kind of a device you're using. So if you want to take a video, if you can, look up any marketing material that Lymphopress might have on YouTube or something, just to kind of give them a visual of what you're working with and let them know that it's a really low compression. It's nothing high like a blood pressure cuff would be. They might be okay with it, but because this is for a squamous cell, I already lost it, maybe carcinoma or something, you're having some concerns with that skin, I would just go ahead and wait for the doctor to give you clearance. And it might just be a couple days. If it has stitches or something in it, they might want you to wait a little bit. But I would still go ahead and wear your compression if you are bandaging. In fact, I would probably recommend either a bandage, multi-layer bandaging, or I would recommend probably a Velcro garment if you have one of those in your toolbox, because you'll be able to quickly and easily check on that incision and making sure it's not opened or anything. And you can put a little extra padding there to protect it and absorb anything that might drain off. But I would definitely just check with your doctor on that one and they'll help guide you in the right direction.
Perfect. So we have a question about how to follow each of you on your social platforms. If any of you are interested in that, grab a pen now, because I'm going to go to another question and then we're going to come back and everybody's going to give you their Instagram or social handles so that you can follow them. But an interstitial question: has anyone ever used the Patriot Vital Swing for lymphedema? Fred Mitchell asks the question. It's not something I have ever heard of. Does anybody have any experience with the Vital Swing? And we're coming up cold on that one, Fred. I am sorry we can't help you with it, but if you've had an experience with it, we'd love to hear about it in chat. And I am going to now do the roundtable of where can people follow you? Camille Rubino wants to know. She's one of our favorite visitors every month. So Alexa, we'll start with you. How can people follow you and learn from you?
Sure. So my website is thelymphylife.com, and I'm the Lymphy Life on most social platforms except Instagram. I'm just at Lymphy Life. And then Lympha Press, which I also help the social with that. We are Lympha_press on Instagram, and we're also on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, etc., TikTok.
Yeah. When you're seeing all these fun graphics and really insightful posts, it's coming from Alexa, with maybe a little input from me every now and then. Mary Casselberg, how can people find and follow you?
Yes, I am on Instagram with @livelovelymphy. And I am on Facebook. I don't use it as often as I use my Instagram though. So
because you're super cool.
I'm part of that generation, unfortunately.
No, that's all good. It's all good. Catherine Rosenberg, how can people find and follow you?
So I'm on Instagram with @CRosenberg with an ERG at the end, 1982.
Is 1982, what's the significance?
The year I was born.
Oh, you're young. I'm feeling older. All right, I'm feeling older by the minute. Is there anybody in my age range that's a part of this panel? We'll just move right on to Amanda Sobey, who is not in my age range, but how can people find and follow you? You're muted. Ah, darn.
Sorry, it's been a long day. You can find me on Instagram and on Facebook at am.sobey. I do have a dedicated lymphedema page for all my Lymphy Queens that I train. So there's also @Lymphy Queen that is under my name. YouTube is Amanda Sobey. Website is Amanda Sobey, and the last name is S as in Sam, O, B as in Bob, E-Y. So
Awesome. And
yeah.
our savvy panelists are also putting this in chat. And everybody who registers, you will get a link to the replay once it's all cleaned up and edited with fancy graphics and all that. And all the fancy graphics done by our amazing Jillian Hampson will also show these handles. But I, as an equal opportunity show host, go for it, Betty Westbrook.
So you can find me Facebook and Instagram. Lymphedema Podcast is my handle. I have Twitter and LinkedIn. I don't ever use Twitter, but I have one, so go me. And the website is lymphedemapodcast.com. And if you don't, use the like apps, Apple Podcast or whatever, all of the episodes from literally 0 to 88 are listed on the website, and you can go in there and listen right from your phone or from your desktop.
Well said. Love it. And we can't wait to see when. Do you know when the Lympha Press episode is going to run?
Yeah, you guys are coming out last Tuesday of the month.
Dig it. Last Tuesday of the month. We're going to promote that all over social. Absolutely. Kelly Bell, how can people find and follow you?
Easily on Instagram, on Veteran Fighting Lymphedema, and I'm just using my own page right now on Kelly Bell on Facebook.
Kelly Bell on Facebook. Awesome.
People find me, trust me. So I'm here.
We're so glad people can find you because you're awesome. And what about Angela Jones? Angela Jones, who we were poking and prodding and saying, how come you're not on social media? You finally are. And I have to tell you, you got to follow her because she is inspiring. Go ahead, Angela.
On Facebook, Angela Jones, and Instagram is 2018 Get Healthy.
I love that. 2018 Get Healthy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's a mandate. Cam, how can people are wishing that they can follow you? So how would you like people to follow you? Oh, you are so clever, Cameron Ayala. Yeah, you're muted right now, my sweet, wonderful brother. But
okay, yep, no, Cam Ayala. There's no E. There actually is an E in normally spelled, but that was taken. So yeah, I'm on Instagram. I do Facebook too, but mostly Instagram. You guys can find me on MySpace. I'm kidding.
Oh, you are so full of baloney. But you get to make another wish. Come on, make another wish, Kim. You did it again. I love it. Does anybody else want to guess? I know, right? Get the smoke out of here. Does anybody else want to guess what Cam wished for? Go ahead, Mary.
I think he wishes for a rose. The final rose, to be exact.
Yeah, I like that. What about you, Alexa? What do you wish for Cam?
I think Cam wishes for no more Bachelorette references.
Wish this was water.
Oh no, what is that?
No, I said it's water. I wish it wasn't water right now.
Oh my goodness. All right, this roundtable is getting out of control. Amanda, did you have a wish for Cam?
I figured it out.
You did?
Finally got the unmute button for sure. Solid for me. I just wish that Cam was able to live his best life and just be free and done with living with lymphedema.
Mm-hmm.
I like that wish too. I mean, we're being a little silly, but we all applaud that. That was well said too.
Mm-hmm.
Kelly, as the only other dude on the panel, do you have a wish for Cam?
Oh, wow. Whew. I think Amanda covered that. I mean, to be honest with you, I think that's anybody living with lymphedema is like, wish it was gone.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I always refer back to Cam's interview that he did, and you should look for it on YouTube. And it was called Your Pain is Your Strength. And that has taken on new meaning for me as well, because whenever I feel like I am in pain, and everybody deals with pain, whether it's emotional, physical, spiritual, whatever, knowing that your pain can be your strength, that your messes can be your message,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that your tests can be your testimony. There's great power in all of that. And so I just want to encourage all of you that are out there watching tonight that you're not alone. I keep saying that, and that it's all perspective. If Cam can say, my pain is my strength, then we all can. And I just want to thank you, Cam, for sharing that so many months ago, because it's come back and it's resonated with me over and over and over again. So we still have time. We are not out of time for the closing round here. Betty Westbrook, you had a Light the Night fundraiser and gala for Camp Watch Me. And for those that don't know, Camp Watch Me is doing amazing things for children with lymphedema and their families. And this was a fundraiser. So tell us about it and how did it go? And are there ways that we can still support?
Absolutely. Let me make sure. Am I muted? Okay, no.
No, you're good. Oh, that's funny.
So the Bryland's Feet Foundation Light the Night Gala was at the end of September. And I just want to say, so Mary will be able to relate to this pretty well because she was at camp too. We had grandparents of a camper present. They drove up to join us. We had a parent of one of our campers. We had a CLT come from New Mexico to join us. And it was just so great to reunite with literally like my family from this summer. The kids, I wish they could have been there. I think once we grow a little bit, we're going to have like a kids room. It's gonna be like a bounce house and they can just do some fun stuff while we do grown-up fundraising. But I wanted to look on the Bryland's Feet page, so I tell you the right numbers. We had a goal of $100,000 and we came up a little short. We made over $96,000 for Bryland's Feet Foundation. That will help throughout the year. I know, and it was really amazing. I was there with Brittany. We're not together in person, but maybe about twice a year. And we kept checking the page and we were like, oh my gosh, this is so great. And then of course, you know, I did my best to pickpocket a couple people at the event, and we really were able to get our numbers up there. I'm just kidding. I just always tell the story about Devin and how he inspired me to start Camp Watch Me, and how we never want to stop helping these families. And while it started with one boy and wanting to help him, now that I don't have contact with him anymore, we want to help the parents so that they can continue to be the best advocate for that kid. Because when camp is over, when therapy is over, they're going home with mom, dad, grandma, whoever is in their corner, and we want to support them too. So if you want to continue to donate, brylandsfeet.org, I think it's as simple as /donations. But on the website, there's a place for donations, and you can go in and you can make an annual donation. You can make a monthly contribution, whatever you want to do. And you can even say what you want it to go toward if you have some specifications. We were able to announce our dates for next summer. So we're going to be in Estes Park, Colorado. And something so cool. And every year I tell Brittany, I'm like, you're going to kill me, but I'm the director, so I get to make these calls, but you're going to kill me. We're going to have 2 camps again. And we didn't plan on doing this for another couple of years to have 2 camps, but out of necessity from COVID and our families having to miss in 2020, we brought 2 on. This next summer, our first session will be the 7th through the 11th. And then we're going to bring back alumni and their parents the 9th through the 13th. And so 9, 10, 11, those 3 days are going to overlap, and not even, it always sounds weird, like we're just going to expand their network, but not in like a business term. But we're taking kids who have never met a kid with lymphedema, and we're saying, okay, here's a couple days to get used to these 10 kids. And then we're bringing in 12 more kids, and they're going to meet you, and you're going to be friends with them, and you're going to do activities and hang out with them. And not only for the kids, but we're telling the parents like, okay, So you've just been shell shocked and had your world rocked and met parents who can understand you and relate. Well, here's 12 more to put in your pocket. Take their number, take their, address, be pen pals, whatever. And we're really doubling up their experience, I think. We're really trying to double down on growing their network so they don't feel alone. It's international. We'll eventually open it up. Registration will open November 1st for both of those camps. But we are really happy to share that at the gala. And then obviously to raise that much money and get so close to our goal of $100,000 was just incredible, because we know we don't want to stop being able to share and help and give these supplies to these families and these kids.
That's amazing. And those dates for the camp, what month is that taking place?
In June.
June. Got it. Well, I know
and
that
hopefully COVID restrictions will be lesser and we'll be able to bring on more of our volunteers and patient advocates, because last summer we were just so restricted with travel and the number of people we could have on site in our group. We've had so many people reach out and say, I just want to be there. Like, I just want to bring my kids. My family doesn't have lymphedema. We just want to help. And we hope that the conditions are going to be better and that this pandemic will be behind us.
Yes, so may that be the case. And I know you couldn't keep Mary Casselberg away. With wild horses couldn't keep her away. And I know Alexa has talked about maybe getting involved next year and being there. And there's so many, of you that are involved with this. Lympha Press is proud to support Camp Watch Me. We're also proud to support the ketogenic solutions for lipedema and lymphedema. And the dates are the 22nd to the 24th of October. Still time to register and get involved. Kelly, can you give us a snapshot about what that's all about? Again, Lympha Press is sponsoring. We'll have a presence there, but what are you doing?
The conference is basically like a twofold, but one of the folds is people like me who use a ketogenic diet to actually manage their lymphedema and how it's helped. And then also like how to find your peace with what's going on with your life. But then I'll be presenting there about, for me specifically, I'm actually going to be talking about organ lymphatics and like how like as Betty mentioned earlier, she mentioned chronic kidney disease, congestive heart failure, and I can bring up pulmonary fibrosis and stuff like that, because ironically, like recently I found out, like it's always been my concern, but I found out that like my damaged lymphatics are actually creating those nightmares, believe it or not, and research is supporting that. And so and then I'll tell you how I use the diet, and believe it or not, the pump, it's like one of my number one tools to keep those fluids moving around my heart.
That's so great.
And I'm always biohacking myself, but like that's what's going to be going on at that conference. Can I talk about Learn real quick?
Yeah, go ahead. And then I want to talk about Cam, who's going to be a special guest at NLN. So go ahead.
Okay. Learn just received a grant from CDC. It's a 3-year grant. It's a national awareness campaign. So they're going to start trying to spread awareness for lymphedema. So when we go to our doctors and we say we have lymphedema, they don't look at us like, what are you talking about? So, or even people just like your neighbors. So those are things that are going on.
That's awesome. Love it. Thank you for that update. And I'll be cheering you on at the conference in October. Absolutely, my friend. Go ahead, Cam. So Cam's going to be at NLN, the National Lymphedema Network Conference. Actually, Alexa Urcolano is also going to be there. We have 2 celebrities representing Lympha Press.
Betty's presenting there this year too.
Go, Betty.
Yep.
Wow.
All about that lymphedema. So I will be there with Eric Ansar, president of Lympha Press, and my colleague Alexa, my other colleague Rich Bradley from Florida, and our medical advisor Deborah Gross. So we're really excited. So if you're going to be at the NLN in Boston the first weekend in October, come check us out.
I love it. I love it. I think registration just went through the roof when they all heard you were going to be there. Or maybe it was Alexa. It was really Alexa. Yeah. That's totally it. All right. So we have 5 minutes left. I wanted everybody to think about something that they could say to inspire or encourage. Just a brief statement, something that they hold on to on your bad days. Mary, on your bad days, what do you hold on to? And what would you say to our audience?
On my bad days, I hold on to two things. I hold on to the fact that research is always growing. What Kelly just said is phenomenal news. And I also hold on to why I'm doing what I'm doing, why I'm taking care of myself, why I'm sharing my experiences. I think about the little kids at camp and how I'm going to fight as hard as I can now so that they don't have to fight as hard in the years to come.
Well said. What do you do on your bad days, Catherine? How do you encourage yourself, and how would you encourage our audience?
For me, one of the things that I do is I always think about the fact that the sky is the limit, and it is super, super important to not limit your challenges, but challenge your limits instead.
Ooh, drop the mic. That was good. How do you follow that up? Amanda.
Gee, thanks.
Sorry, Amanda.
Crickets. I really love the fact that just because there is no cure doesn't mean that there's nothing you can do. I let those words resonate and echo and eat inside of me for far too long, when I could have been proactive and I could have been compliant and I could have been doing so many things. And then when I started to get involved in my health, I recognized that it became a secondary focus, because now I'm actually living my life versus being swallowed up by the disease. So don't stop living. There's things you can do, and don't let the words "no cure" stop you.
I love it. Can someone cue "Don't Stop Believing" in the background? I want to hear that. Kelly Bell, on the bad days, how do you encourage yourself, and how would you encourage our audience?
One of the first things I learned how to do is just find your peace in that moment, like what you're going through, and then give yourself permission to be upset about it, and then don't live in it. Like, that's the worst thing you can do. I lived in it. I'm going to be honest with you. I lived in it for years, and then nothing, when you're living in it, like, nothing changes. And so once you give yourself permission to be down, come up and try to make changes.
Oh, love it. Love it. Alexa Ercolano.
Mine is reminding myself that you can't pour from an empty cup. So rest, pause if you have to, and know that to be your best self, you gotta slow down sometimes and allow yourself that space to just be.
I am like taking notes, guys, because this is all helpful stuff. Betty Westbrook, on your bad days, how do you encourage yourself?
So I'm not a patient of lymphedema, so my bad days come from a different perspective, I think. And it comes from a place of like advocacy and wanting to solve these problems for you guys, because I can't make a cure. But I thoroughly believe, like, when I'm having a bad day, I have to step back and say, okay, you were given this voice and this talent by God to be here to help all these people, and whoever can hear your voice right now, whoever you are focused on helping, you just have to keep going, because they need my help. And I'm not a savior by any means. But I used to really struggle with, why am I so loud? Why am I so outspoken? And when people tell me no, why do I have to say, watch me, I will. But since I was a little girl, I have had that in me. And I now know, like, God just made me a troublemaker on purpose. It's good trouble. I get in good trouble.
We wouldn't have it any other way. We're so glad your trouble is at our table always. Angela Jones, on your bad days, how do you encourage yourself?
I can so easily feel sorry for myself, and I can admit that. And I have to tell myself that no matter how bad the day is, it could be worse. And that gets me through it, makes me grab whatever's going on in that day and just deal with it.
Amen. We should pass up a collection plate now. I think I'm pretty inspired. Cam, why don't you tell us what you say to yourself on the bad days?
So beyond just having the mentality of, like you were saying earlier, your pain is your strength, lymphedema, especially the past 2 years, has definitely kept me grounded. It's kept me grounded in a sense that, not just physically, because I've had mobility issues from a lot of surgeries, but it's kept me grounded because I have now found the deepest connection with any human beings that were seemingly strangers and now feel like family with Lymphopress and all that we're doing on the social media space and the advocacy work, the stuff that Brittany and Betty are doing with Camp Watch Me, and Kelly with Learn, and Alexa with Lymphy Life, and Amanda with her Lymphedema Fitness, and everybody else on the panel and in the community at large. So it has been a real humbling and honor to be a part of this community for good days and bad days alike.
Well said. I'm going to eat your cupcake, by the way, since you're not able to be here in person. And I will close with this because I've had some challenges myself in the last month. And someone wrote something that meant a lot to me. Whenever you're facing a dark time, you have a choice. There is either a hole that you can dive down, or there's a door, and the door is where the light is. Choose the door. And that is what I say to all of you. Choose the door. Thanks for being with us tonight for the Lymphedema Patient Roundtable. Thank you, all of our wonderful panelists, and we'll see you next month. Take care.